the financial results for Celtic come out this week, Swanee, and the headline figure, £72 million in the bank. I mean, on one hand, it's remarkable that Celtic have that, and it's been run. The club has obviously been run very diligently, and I mean it's a brilliant headline figure. But then when you go into the game on Tuesday night, you kind of look at it and go, well, why have we not got 2 or 3 more marquee players? Or is that like a football manager opinion from me? Like, do you know what I mean? Is that like a wee guy thing, you think?
Oh, listen, I think it's a 5-hour podcast on its own about, why that, the differences, the model, what you have to pay a £10 million player. I mean, I think there was an assumption among Celtic fans that there'll be, Jota's gone for £25 million, maybe there'll be a £15 million player. I can remember it's what like that, because £50 million players come with, when you sign a player for £1 million, I don't want to throw names out there because we're accused or something, but if you sign a player for £1 million, you pay him X amount because he's a £1 million player. If somebody then comes to buy him and he's worth £10 million, you then have to pay him a £10 million player wage. That's why contracts get renegotiated and new deals get signed in the middle of current deals. So when you're trying to buy guys at a certain level, you have to pay a wage. And if you pay that wage, then somebody's agent shoots into somebody else's ear and, he's getting that. All of a sudden, you've got 12 guys snaked through the manager's door wanting the same money. It's a tricky position. It's difficult. It's impossible to overcome, frankly, unless you're prepared to smash up all your wage structures and get guys in. There's nothing else you can do. And I know it's frustrating. It has to be frustrating for Celtic supporters. I know it must be. Sitting thinking, well, why not a couple of £8-10 million players in there? But there's obviously reasons for it. I'm quite sure Celtic aren't doing it just to, it'd be great fun to lose games to Feyenoord. I'm sure there's obviously reasons for it. They're very intelligent business people in that football club. So these decisions aren't being taken lightly.
And Graeme, we've got on the Record Sport website today, we've got quotes from Alan Stubbs, who's actually criticised some of the comments from Peter Lawwell on the Celtic board earlier this week when they made those announcements. To kind of paraphrase, Peter Lawwell just said that, look, we've got this money saved up and that'll come in handy for the years we don't get in the Champions League, because realistically we're not going to be in it every season, which I think is fair enough. Alan Stubbs is kind of saying that's a weird thing to say and you should always be aiming for the top competition. But Graeme, I think that's fair. I think that's definitely a fair way to look at it. Celtic can't just expect to be in the Champions League every season.
There's a couple of points to that, Dan. I think the first part, when you introduce the figures, you make it the fair point that a very prudent football club, well, prudent football clubs they mitigate circumstances for if years they don't make it. And I think with Stubbs used the line that it was almost as if it was waving the white flag about Rangers win the league. But I think we were maybe right to point out that there's also years now with the coefficient where automatic qualification after next year might not be a guarantee. So it's not necessarily Celtic won't win the league. It's that the automatic path might not always be there. And there's a balance as well. One thing it made me think as well with the debates this week. Now, I think you can understand, I totally agree with Swanee as well about this idea that you can understand fan frustration. If they had a left back of the calibre of Alistair Johnson, that's not if I go at Greg Taylor and he was such an asset in the way Ange played, but just a level up for Greg Taylor at left back, akin to Alistair Johnson on the right, your central defender staying fit, and a keeper who, let's be honest, the one similarity between Rodgers and Ange teams is keepers have got the ball a lot with their feet. I think if they could have a keeper who can make saves and distribute, even look at Arsenal, like David Raya the other night. I know there's fierce debate over that, but he has a level up for Aaron Ramsdale and taking the ball out. That's what teams do, they upgrade. And back to the point about Celtic, about the money as well, in terms of the statement Peter Law, I don't think that can be looked at the wrong way. I just don't think that's. I think Alan Stubbs' the point about Rangers, the idea that Celtic are waving the white flag. I just don't agree with that. I think that's. I don't think that's the way it's been. Celtic aren't saying it the way that Stubbs is interpreting it.